Good evening, and welcome to today's edition of Keeping It Real with Rammona. I'm really excited today to have a very special guest with me here today. Her name is Dr. Amna Mirza. Hi, Amna. How are you? You're muted.
Hi, folks. How are you? And thank you, Rammona, for having me for this very special conversation.
I'm really happy that we've been able to have this conversation, and the really beautiful thing is that you're my first guest, in my new season. So that makes it a very, very special edition today. So I'll just take a couple of minutes and briefly introduce Dr. Amna. So she is someone who actually wears many different hats. She is a social entrepreneur. She's also an author. She's also someone who does a lot of amazing things as far as academics goes. So, in terms of her background, she's from the Delhi Public School, and then she went to college at St. Stephens. So both of us are, from the same college, which is another common point for us here. And then she went ahead and did her master's from Hindu College in political science. She's also done an M.Phil and Ph.D. from Delhi University, and a master's actually of business administration from the United Business Institute in Belgium. And currently she's actually teaching. She's an assistant professor of political studies at SPM College, University of Delhi. So like I said, she wears many different hats. She loves traveling. She is a vegan. She loves reading as well. And like I said, as far as her academic work goes, she's actually done some brilliant things. Her work's actually taken her to the University of Duisburg Essen, Germany, and also University of Fribourg in Switzerland. She is very humble, but she's actually received several awards over the years. And some of those awards include the Godfray Golden Ovary Award. And from St. Stephens College, she got the Centenary Medal for Character Combined with Learning. She's also received the Bharat Nirman Award for Women Entrepreneurship and the Mook-Nayak National Award, Business Rankers Women Achievement Award, amongst a bunch of others. So what's very, very interesting about Dr. Amna is that she's actually been associated with a lot of art and culture festivals, and she also contributes regularly to many newspapers and magazines. She's also authored 6 books. Is that right, Dr. Amna? 6 books?
Yes, you got it right. And the 7th one is on its way. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. And she's very well received by academics, by the media, and a lot of other folks. So again, Dr. Amna, very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for taking out time, for this conversation today. So I thought we'd just start off with a little bit of reflection on your journey so far. So maybe, I did introduce you, I shared a lot of different things about you, but, from your perspective, how has this journey been for you?
First of all, at the outset, thank you, Rammona, for this for inviting me for this show. And it's so good to hear that you're starting your new series with me, with my talk show. So kudos and congratulations to you for that. And thank you, Rammona, for all those great words in introduction. As you say, reflecting on any journey is never an easy task. But having said so, when I reflect on my journey, I see it's like a combination, a motley lot of various things which were never planned. Being very honest, I never planned my academic or writing or my social entrepreneurship life. It happened. And while, things were happening in this, in this entire journey, I remember the words, because we both are from the same college. So I remember the words of
Yes.
late Dr. Anil Wilson. He used to tell us, that education in true sense takes place beyond the curriculum. It's never about what the syllabus says. It's never about what is prescribed. But you have to, reach out.
Dr. Amna, there's a bit of static. You can't hear you clearly.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So,
maybe you could restart from what you said about Dr. Wilson.
yeah. So, me and Rammona, we both are from same college. So I remember, in my college days during that time, Dr. Anil Wilson used to tell us that education in true sense takes place beyond the curriculum. So, when you're reflecting on this journey wherein, you have, as you said, many things together on the platter, what is essential here is that perhaps we were lucky to have that kind of mentorship that enabled us to get all diverse things together, that enabled us to get work for a core that connects everything. So one of the biggest takeaways in this reflection, as I look at from my school to college days and the present beautiful journey of being in the educative realm, is the ability to collaborate, is the ability to get many strands together. And above all, in every strand, there is so much to learn from. In every strand, there's so much to analyze and look forward to. Perhaps this aspect of channelizing things together is, something that, gets my academic, writing, social entrepreneurship, or any small act together. And I think this applies for all of us too. The very ability to take things forward, the very ability to put things together in a holistic perspective, I think it's so important because it helps us to look at the magnanimity of life also, because life, after all, is so diverse. Every day is unique, every day has something beautiful and not so beautiful things. All what is required is all of us to look beyond things that are there.
I loved how you put that, Dr. Amna, and I totally can relate to some of the things you said. In particular, I love the fact that you said that every day can be beautiful and there may be good or not so good in a day, but like let's focus on what's right about our day. So that's kind of a philosophy, like a life philosophy I follow too, because along our journeys there's so many things that happen, but if we only focus on what's not going right, then we tend to create more of that. So
Absolutely.
I think you really put that very beautifully. So tell me a little bit more about the sort of research that you've done, the area that you focused on, and how that experience has been for you.
Ramanov, my research had two components, but just to keep, for the simplicity of our conversation, the second component of my research, which was on looking at the global world. Global world is being defined by globalization. We're all living local yet highly global lives. I completely believe in this
Absolutely.
idea that today we are living in a world which has been defined by space and time being absolutely compressed. Today, when it comes to be business models, or perhaps government to government interaction, or perhaps even relationships, today they're not bound by connotations of space and time. So looking at these very interesting findings in the global world, trying to understand it, how new actors come in, how governance processes are shaped up, and above all, today there is an attempt on part of several nation states to understand these dynamics, because these dynamics no longer just concern the states. It impacts all of us. Just to take an example here, we saw that how last year at the same time, when the COVID pandemic was there and it was raging all over the world, what was essential on part of nation states was that one had to work out a collaborative approach, drawing in best of reflection from the citizens,
True.
also from the people also. So wherein one when one virus disrupted all forms of ideas, mechanisms, governance ideas, again, once again, it was interdependence. It was our interconnected idea of working together, be from technology, or be via sharing ideas, that drew things together. So this is where my some of the aspects wherein I worked in my contemporary research times. It is this, looking at these very interesting observations, new developments, new events of the global world, trying to connect them in a manner that layman understands, because amongst the laymen there is an understanding that, okay, perhaps it's something out there, it exists in the books, it doesn't concern me. But it is not true. Today our lives are so diverse. Today our lives, in spite of being diverse, are facing a common challenge. And the common challenge here is that we are living in an age of disruption. Ramana, just to give
Yeah.
you an example here again, we get up early in the morning, our smartphones, wherein we have an app for every problem we face, ask us that we have to update our apps. So this is why today the challenge, from rural to urban areas lies here in how do we keep pace with this world, wherein
Yeah,
we are witnessing constant disruptions, and these constant disruptions demand innovation. Now, Ramana, again, innovation should not be looked upon as a rocket science. Innovation can come from anyone. It can come from a homemaker, it can come from a student, it can come from a researcher.
absolutely.
So how do we juggle between these various aspects which are dynamic, and alongside being dynamic, these various aspects, they demand a very interesting and a holistic approach.
Great. So I think that was the second part of your research, and I think that's an area which is actually pretty interesting because it is something that impacts each one of us. And I love the fact that you drew in the fact that it's not only something that happens on the larger scale. All of us, even at the smaller scale, are impacted by that globalization. Whether it's creation of relationships, whether it's something else, whether it is a bigger issue too. So what is the first part of your research then, Amna?
That was on institutions, that how are institutions really coping up with this process of interdependence, because when globalization began, and I always point out that globalization is nothing new. It has always existed. Ideas, people, goods, services have always been there, being
Yeah,
exchanged, being and we've always been defined by interdependent. But what is peculiar about this present day global project or globalization, globalizing world, it is that because of this rampant development in information, communication, technology, innovations, which are unprecedented in terms of their impact and in terms of their reach, that today no institution is immune to that. For example, for when we were there in our schools, perhaps the idea that IT can be used to make it can be there to ensure that government issues and government services can be there at the doorstep was something alien. But today, nations across are working and grappling with this issue, that how do we use technology to ensure that institutions cater better to citizens' needs. So that was one part. But looking at the way that how this process had so much dynamics to it. So looking at the various aspects of dynamics, I thought that I'll dwell further more into the globalization issues. And once again, even within these globalization issues, it is so interesting that it is just not about institutions anymore. It's about the
yeah,
food that we eat. For example, today we can get all kinds of food together on one platter, and we still have that ethos of empathy that, okay, this is mine. It doesn't belong to something out there, but it is mine. In terms of languages, there's so much diversity. In terms of places to see also, today there is a quest on part of people to reach out to each other. Or perhaps when you say even communicative realms, today with the rise of new social media, things are so different. It has
absolutely.
enabled people, it has really enabled people to come out, put in their perspective out of the box, to it has helped them, helped nations to channelize energies of the youth in a productive manner. So this idea as to the new things that globalization unfolds was something very baffling. So this is where I thought I'll take my research journey forward with these contours. But having said so, Ramona, just like any process, any idea, it's never complete in its own. Or what we say
Yeah,
here is that in our everyday life also, we are all often told that don't be judgmental. So when we are there in
yeah,
the realm of social sciences also, one has to see that there are positives as well as negatives, because not everything is equal to all. So for that
sure.
matter, when we analyze global world globalization, it has not been equal. It has been defined by somewhere inequity, and an ideal equity could be that technology is not available to all, accessibility is an
That's true.
issue. So one has to
Absolutely.
also, one also has to look at that other aspect also. But having said so, it's been an interesting journey to dwell more on it, wherein every moment is teaching you, and at the same time, when you're there in this process of erudition, learning, reflections, you're indeed getting up every day with the fact that, okay, there's something new to learn. Okay, there's something new to unlearn. And at the same time, there's something new to relearn. So this is where
Yeah.
I think, the real beauty of being in this arena lies.
How lovely. So learn, unlearn, and relearn. Awesome. So I have a comment here from Kamal Jean. She says, so correct. It's all about the self and the environment. I think she put that up, a few minutes before. So going a little further, sticking to this topic of, globalization, I wanted to ask you, do you think our lives, which are actually in many ways so global now, demand deeper thought process of understanding this? What is
Absolutely,
your
Ramona. Absolutely. I completely agree with you that today, when you look at lives, today lives are global. And why I say lives are global, for example, look at the atmosphere, look at the environment around. Today when we hear about vagaries of climate, or perhaps when we hear our kids coming forward to us and telling us that, okay, let's have the Earth Day, let's have the Water Day, let's have the Environment Day. Today, there
yeah,
is the sense of solidarity that our problems are just not about us. It's about what everyone also is facing. Today, issues of what concerns humanity are just not they cannot be situated at one realm. Today, there is a need for a comprehensive understanding. So, and at the same time, Ramona, at one point we are there when we have to look at things wherein we are together, wherein the idea of being stronger together or only together can take things forward. But at the same time, problems are being redefined every day. As I pointed out, we're living in a world of disruption. Technology did present to us gains, but at the other side, technology, it is one of the disabling factors. And by disabling, we mean that today with technology, the solutions, nations, individuals, organizations need to have a problem solving approach, but that problem is no longer constant. The problems keeps being redefined. When you look at the world of aesthetics, earlier there was a time when one kind of product can cater to all the needs, but when we look at present times, every day, even in the realm of aesthetics, we have something new being offered. Or for that matter, even if we
absolutely.
go, when we go out and shop, earlier we had one particular brand competing for our choice, but today
Yeah,
the ambit of choice is so much magnified, so that is, there are plethora of choices. Now
yeah,
these plethora of choices are in a way good because after all, it gives us a bigger ambit to think on, to reflect on. But at the other side, it has its own constraints, it has its own challenges. And this is where I feel that right from our ecology to women issues to environment issues to climate change issues to technology issues or even education realms, everything. Today we are living in a world defined by global interconnectedness. And within this global interconnectedness, what is essential here is that firstly, we have to empathize. Empathize, that is, we have to keep on learning from each other's mistakes, and at the same time keep on refining our approach in a manner that what is there in one particular brand A that makes it stand out different as compared to other brand O. And again, looking at the fact that how do we really put things in a framework which are inclusive? Because again, we're seeing that today technology has risen, is giving us new options, it's giving us new platforms. But how do we ensure that this technology reaches out, the message that our communicative forums of technology are presenting, it reaches out to everyone possible? That is the one of the challenge.
yeah, I know. I mean, I totally agree with you. I wanted to just share something, because I've been following your work for some time now. One thing I totally, totally love about you is that a lot of times when you make any posts, you ensure that you share whatever you're sharing in two languages, basically in Hindi and in English. So also, in terms of your name, your actual name on Facebook is with Hindi letters, which I found is very unusual. There are few people do it, but a lot of people don't have, I feel, personally the guts to do it. So kudos to you for that. And I just want to appreciate that I really love seeing your posts every time that you post something, because we have it right there in Hindi, and then we have whatever you're sharing in English as well. So I wanted to really, say that was something you were doing very differently, and I totally, totally love that. So
Thank
thank you
you,
for being
Ramona.
that difference
Thank
in our world.
thank Thank you. But just to add here, again, I think, every language is beautiful. And, Ramona, I've been fortunate enough to learn, I would say, fortunate enough to learn a couple of languages. And I believe that, the more you get deeper into any learning thing, it really presents more beautiful perspectives. So being in the realm of English, as you say, that I juggle between two languages, English to Hindi to Urdu to a bit of Malayalam to a lot of French, it teaches it's and trust me, each experience is so unique that it adds more to reflections that you can absorb. It adds more to ideas that you can appreciate. And I think that is the beauty of any endeavor should be. It should add more, not only to the perspective, but I think it should add more to vibrancy to the world that is around you. So I'm glad that juggling between multiple languages is appreciated. So thank you to that for that.
Yeah, I mean, I just found that very, very cool. And I wanted to, really point that out and say that I thought that that was the difference you were being in our world. So thank you for that. I know that you're involved in a lot of different festivals that you curate. So I was wondering that what are the driving factors behind, any artistic endeavor or any festival or program that you're, basically curating and that you're participating in. What are the driving factors for you? Because I do see that, you have a wide range of participation in different sort of festivals that are
Right.
going on or different programs.
Right. Ramona, first of all, I believe that art is educative. It teaches you a lot. But at the same time, when we are, involved in any artistic foray, it is essential to also appreciate the fact that art has multiple meanings to it. Perhaps, for example, when you're curating a talk show where it is essential to ensure that there must be diversity, different ideas must be represented. Now, what should be the outcome as an art curator? I leave that field open, for the audience to reflect on. But essential here is that we must factor in of course, in the canvas to dwell in the world of art again is huge. Having said
Yeah.
so, we still, analyze the limitations of every project that I undertake and try to make it representative. Try to put in
Okay.
all hard work to get as many voices as possible. And when you're trying to work out in a realm where you're trying to get many ideas together, even for that matter, people whom we approach to come forward for a program or a slot or any particular sequence in any art festival, even the participants then they feel truly good about it. That is, an attempt is being made to actually put forward a perspective that is just not one dimensional, a
Sure.
perspective that tries to listen to everyone and then put forward views. And while we are there in any artistic realm, it is very essential again, relating to the one of my research aspects also. Today
Yeah.
art is one of the most important soft powers for any nations. Today gone are those days when nations, individuals used to just reduce their entire aspect of communication or interface with each other just in crude military sense. Today with the realm, if you dwell further, if you get a, I believe that compulsive googling, it really teaches us a lot. If you ever
It
happen
does.
to google up, yeah, yeah, if you ever happen to read about Joseph Nye. So Joseph Nye talks about soft power, that how the soft
Yeah.
power in the realm of, it is like an attractive power. It is a power of attraction over coercion. So art, I personally believe, that being volunteering for art festivals ever since my school days at DPS or perhaps at my college days at St. Stephens, it has really sensitized me to this aspect that art has the power to connect, art has the power to correlate. And it's so good to see that how nations across the world are trying to work on this very important dynamic, trying to focus on that how the ambit of art can build, can ensure that people to people connect ties work forward, or perhaps how we all can learn and reflect on from each other's different milieu. So in that ways, art being educative, art being an aspect of soft power, while curating or venturing out into any art festival, I do it with a sense of responsibility. While venturing into any kind of artistic endeavor, I do it with a sense of commitment to it, that my commitment should be there to let all perspectives be represented, and above all,
I think that's
that
really
it
important.
yeah, and above
Yeah.
all, that it should be a holistic treat for the audience also. That they should come. For example, if the program ends, it should end with a smile on the face of the audience that they did get to find the diverse aspect. Now, the concluding part is up to them. Again, as I say, that
Yeah.
I've always believed that one should not be judgmental. One should always be ears to listen out to the other, and which is very essential because this is where the real vibrancy of life also lies. So that ways.
Thank you for sharing that. So tell me, Dr. Amna, what are some of the things that add to expressions managing life in various realms? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
See, again, when you're dealing with the world of expressions, we have to be very careful that we're dealing with human beings, and human beings are sensitive. So that is very essential. And in the realm of sensitivity, one also has to see that the ambit of emotions is again wide. So looking at that aspect and dealing with the varied, it could be perspectives, dealing with various books together, like which one should go in a panel and other which one should not go, or perhaps when you're struggling with thoughts while doing a column for a newspaper, that this thing should go or this thing should not go. What is essential here is that you must again be true to the project that you're catering to, because this honesty gives you the confidence. It gives you the confidence to take things forward. This commitment towards that I'm going to be truthful to the issues that I'm catering to, it really gives you the strength to also take the project forward on your shoulders. So I think that's very essential while you're dealing in this varied arena. And also you must be ready to accept that there is no finality. There is nothing called as this is the final word. It's always being explored. New things are coming up.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and one has to keep on acclimatizing to it. For example, I'm a fitness person. I mean, I completely believe that one has to be devoted towards fitness. Now, Ramona, come on, think about it. Perhaps 10 years back, when we look into the world of fitness, we never thought that we would have so many options, right? So but today, when we see, like, from a zumba to a gym to a yoga to a diet, we have everything. So what is essential
Absolutely.
here is that when we are venturing, I mean, I'm just taking an example, when we are venturing in a particular field, the same logic applies. We have to go forward with the idea that today diversity is there. There are huge amount of options. One has to reflect, and again reflect it with a manner that every day new choices would be added to. So somewhere is beautiful also, but somewhere it gets challenging too, because when you're filled with so many expressions and so many ideas, somewhere it becomes tough to do justice to the variety that is existing out there. But yet one should be always fortunate. I mean, it could be due to good karmas, due to good hard work or positivity, that one feels the sense, okay, wow, I'm lucky to have learned this. Wow, I'm lucky to have had the interface with. So I guess that's what is like one of the driving forces too.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that we're living in very interesting times. I think when we were younger, we really didn't know what we were
Absolutely.
going to encounter, and what were the sort of things that would come ahead for us as we journeyed in life. But I truly feel we're living in interesting times, and every day is a learning experience. Every day I personally learn something new. So I think it's a great time to be alive, and we should celebrate
Absolutely.
whatever time we have here.
Absolutely, Ramona. You absolutely, I feel that life is like a book. Again, coming from the world of academics, let me relate it to everyday life. Life is like a book. How do you really write each day? We are here for, we as Homo sapiens, Ramona, we have limited, ambit, limited time period. We don't know. We all know that we are here for a limited time. But I think one should take your life like a book. Every day should be like a page. You should try to put in the best colors. I know every day is not same, every hour is not same. Still, the consistent attempt on our part must be there. For example, when you see, like, perhaps lots of senior citizens being out there up early in the morning, for a morning walk. I think that gives so much happiness that you get so much to learn from that also, that an attempt is being made to fill your life with so much. So I think this is very essential that every day should be educative. We must educate ourselves every day that it is our day. We have to really make it the best.
I agree with you on that totally. So tell me a little bit, in terms of how the last year's been for you, with the pandemic on, and I know online learning is something that, obviously you've had to work with. So how's that experience been for you?
Again, Ramona, I would say it was at two levels. Firstly, I learned a lot. It gave me an option to, being of someone who really believes in technology, but I was not technologically well educated, I would say.
Okay.
Many apps I didn't know about, but it was good to see that, that regardless of the fact that, when this entire pandemic was there, people were struggling, there was this realization, firstly, that we have to get things going. There should be no stopping. So that was one beauty. So even in the realm of education too, it was good to have this interface with online education, because when you're there in, like, via a face-to-face medium, like for example in a physical offline classroom, the patterns of your talking, the patterns of your efforts to put forward a lesson or a chapter or an article is different as compared to the
Absolutely.
fact when you are in a virtual classroom.
Of
Now a
course.
virtual classroom, of course, it offers many advantages. It offers you many tools to ensure that you can put forward your views in a much more concise manner, in a much more clearer manner. But having said so, one can also not ignore, for example, you enter a Google Meet and you see there like a number of, say, 60 or a 50, but yet there's this handicap. How many are actually there? So one cannot even,
That's true.
ignore that fact. And also, when you, for that matter, when you open your phone and you get your messages from your students that they were struggling with net or internet or network,
Yeah.
and I guess we all have our bit of struggle with the internet also. So that is also one handicap. But above all, being in this domain of online education has just taught me a lot, and at the same time it has also, made me, really feel strong for the cause of technological connectivity. We have to ensure that technology, accessibility has to reach out to everyone, because we don't know what would be the new normal because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's good to see how humans have really acclimatized themselves to dealing with issues, regardless of being not at workplace. But at the same time, because future is uncertain, future demands like a problem solving approach. So in that problem solving approach, I think one of the hallmarks for any enterprise or any policy making should be, let's make technology reach out to as many as possible. And I think this is one thing, one of the fortes, like in many of my writings also, I've been really talking about it, that for example, Ramon, I remember when we used to open our NCRT textbooks, we
Yeah.
used to hear about Mahatma Gandhi's talisman. Now, this
Yeah.
talisman talks about, think about the last person in the last line. If I can put it in Hindi, आखिरी
Yeah.
पंक्ति के आखिरी व्यक्ति को आप सोचिए. So having said so, today is the time. If we have to pay like a true tribute to Mahatma Gandhi ji, let's make technology reach out to the last person, the least disadvantaged. I think it will be one of the most enabling factors to get things forward. So yes, the world of digital education has been challenging, learning new things every day. It really demands dynamism on part of any teaching faculty, and I'm sure many out there who will be listening to your program, they would empathize with me that along one of the biggest challenges here is that how do we keep ourselves innovative, because
Yeah.
now our classrooms are not just confined to four walls. Today we are competing with a classroom like Google, which offers plethora
Yeah.
of information. Then how do we, put forward information or knowledge perspectives in a manner which is relatable to the young minds, in a manner which is also appreciated, because again, just like nature of audience for any communication realm has changed, the nature of the students who are there for any pedagogical endeavor has also changed. In our times, we never had apps and Ubers and Olas. Today, we are dealing
Not
with
at all.
young minds who have access to it. So, as an educator, you have to put yourself into their shoes and then begin the process of your edition. I think this is one of the most, I think, interesting as well as very challenging too.
This takes me to another part of what I wanted to talk to you about, that like our lives are so tech driven now. you know Even what you've shared, if we just look at just from the perspective of students, and we don't have to stay to that, look at our own lives, right? Anyone's life, it's so tech driven. So how do we now find a balance with what is really real life and what is life that is really purely driven by tech? What are your thoughts
You,
around that?
Ramona, every day I really grapple with this thing, because I'll tell you, I'm a believer of relationships. Just to give you an example, when we were there in our schools and colleges, the idea of, say, of any festival was like giving cards. Picking up a card or a flower and sending it across. That bond was something really to cherish. But today, when we get our festivities, there's like a one WhatsApp and the greetings are done. So, yes, sir. I guess our tech-driven life have really made us connect to each other in a very faster, easier manner. But somewhere in this faster, easier manner, the quest for the human touch, the quest for real emotions, I think it's always cherished. And I guess that's one of the very interesting mottos of your program, also keeping it real, because I guess
Absolutely.
Ramona, I guess our lives are also about that. We are looking for this real factor. I know technology has overpowered us, but nothing beats the real connect that we had, that that people to people interface. Even in a
Absolutely.
pandemic, as we said, that we kept going through online exercises, online yoga, online gigs, online webinars, everything. But still, even today, there's this quest. When will we be there in a world wherein, when we are there once again with each other face to face? So nothing beats the human connect. And I think that's the beauty of life also, that regardless of varied emotions that we have, a world where we have lots of happiness, but we have lots of anger also, the human to human connect, I think it has its own USP. Nothing can replace that. So I always believe that, of course, we will evolve, we will adapt with reference to new solutions, new tech apps, but irrespective of our really busy tech driven lives, nothing can replace the human to human connect.
So, I mean, I totally, while you were sharing what you were sharing, I was smiling because every word that you said is true. At least it's true for me, because I personally feel that, that real connect, that real human touch, nothing can replace that. And,
Absolutely.
you know, when you think back on how life used to be when we were younger, in many ways it was a lot simpler, but those connects were a
Yes,
lot deeper as well. And
absolutely.
sometimes you reconnect with people after years, and it feels like
Absolutely.
you've still been in touch even if you haven't, and that's because the connection at that time was on a different level. It wasn't just a virtual connect. So yeah.
Totally.
And
For
as
example,
far as
for
keeping,
example, you
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you told
Go
me,
ahead.
yeah, Ramona, you told me you're from Sardar Patel. I'm from DPS. Of course, we had the tech, the camera to capture us for our farewell parties. But today, when we reflect on those pictures, because I don't know whether how many of us actually get our pictures printed now, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, when we reflect on those pictures of farewell or perhaps any occasion or a outing, that, kindling cord, okay, wow, those were the times. So nothing beats the human connect. I think people should always make an attempt to, add more to their relationships with the human, with the person to person connect. Be your friends or business or any partner or any associate. Nothing beats the idea of the personal, realm of connect.
Yeah, and the fact that you pointed out that my particular conversation series, Keeping It Real with Rammona, is actually about that. I mean, I know I'm doing it on a virtual platform, and maybe one day, this changes and transforms into something different. I don't know what's up ahead, but it is
But this
about
is
that.
very
It's
good.
it's
You're actually taming technology, and that's what I really liked about it. Like, the entire logo, keeping it real. You're trying to use technology to reach out, to get people together, to let's spread all positivity, letting all good vibes, present some amazing symphony together. But which is so good that you're trying to tame technology for this human aspect, which is absolutely needed today, all the more needed
Yeah,
today,
I
because
mean,
different times require, I would say, some different solutions. And I think you're offering a good solution to because I'm someone who really follows you. And why I really follow, one of the reasons here is because every day, with every post, we're like, okay, Ramona is there to give us that new light which is needed, which I personally feel believe that amidst all the choices that have, we are somewhere in a chaos. We're all looking for that one light, that okay, this is the light to really take things forward. So every day amazing, as Ramona says. I think that's what is very essential, and kudos to you for that, because I again, we see we both may be from diverse fields, but we have this connect that every day
I think
must
we
be
do have a
educated.
connect.
See,
Yeah,
so this is
and
this is where it is.
this
Yeah.
conversation only strengthened that belief, because
So
initially
kudos
when I
to
spoke
that.
with you,
Really kudos to
I
that.
could feel that, but now with this conversation, I feel it even more so. So I just wanted to thank you for being the difference in our world and for shining your own light in your unique way. I wish you all the best, Dr. Amna. Thank you for being here
Folks,
today.
first of all, let me thank Ramona. Ramona, thank you so much for having me. Trust me, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I wish you all the good luck for all your future endeavors. Keep spreading the shine, keep spreading all the positivity, and most important, keep spreading the real connect, because this is what is really needed all the more. So, thank you, Ramona, for having me. And thank you to all the viewers also who will be there with us for this session, as well as once we post it for our respective
Yeah.
virtual domains. So thank you, folks, and take very good care. And greetings to everyone for a very happy, joyous, prosperous, holy. Enjoy with color, celebrate life, and greetings to Ramona also for that.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Amna. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye,
Thank you for
folks.
being here
Bye.
today.
Bye.
Bye.